Hello and welcome to today's video. So to tie in with the release of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, I thought it would be quite cool if we took a look at my vintage early Quentin Tarantino memorabilia. Now, I've got all sorts of stuff from when he was just starting on his career, from Reservoir Dogs and Pulp Fiction and Jackie Brown, those early days of his career, his first few movies. And I've got some real cool stuff that I think you'll enjoy having a look at. There's like press kits and the early books on him, some beautiful signed colour stills, and the gem in my collection, which is a multi-signed Palme d'Or winner Pulp Fiction quad. So we'll be having a look at all of that today. I've got a French standee, there's some calendars, there's all sorts in actual fact. So I think it will make quite an interesting video. So without further ado then, sit back, relax, and let's get to work. Okay, so the first thing I've dug out, and I'll try and go through these in semi-chronological order as best I can. So the first bits are these like little press kits and things. So there wasn't a great deal done for Reservoir Dogs all the way back in 1991. And I used to go to film fairs and things like that, and that's where I would pick up a lot of this sort of stuff. So this little folder here, see it's got like a pound on it. It's literally just like a cast and crew thing that was given, I think, to reviewers who went to the original press showings to see the film. It's even got like the length of the actual film stock there, 8,922 feet with a running time of 100 minutes. The UK certificate, which is an 18, it's a sigil like a UK, and yeah, Rank Film Distributors, copyrighted 1992, with the music on the back. So it's just like a little sort of little folder there. This next thing for Pulp Fiction is actually the UK press pack, so with some stills. So this would have been giving out to reviewers at the time, dated 1994. That was the original release date with the running time 153 minutes. Ironically, I went and saw this again in the cinema literally last night. So because Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is coming up, it's released theatrically in the UK next week. My local cinema are showing every Tarantino in order, one a day. So Pulp was last night. They've already done Reservoir Dogs, and tonight I have Jackie Brown. So how cool is that? So quite a nice little booklet there, and then I always love these. Shame they don't sort of do these packs anymore, but it's like a still set there. So these could be used officially by magazines and newspapers to do reviews, and I'd always love getting these press packs for my favourite movies, and I've got like a folder full of my favourite ones. I haven't got anything like what I used to have, which was over a couple of hundred of these at one point, but pretty cool. I got to admit, I couldn't help but just keep smiling so much at the rewatching it last night for the first time in maybe perhaps a year, and 25 years since I'd seen it on the big screen. And I recalled to my friend that when I first saw Pulp in the cinema, there was just me and my mate there. It was admittedly a weekday afternoon, but there were two of us in the cinema. I'm happy to say that last night it was virtually sold out. Jackie Brown, here we are. So this is a bit like the Pulp Fiction booklet. Sadly, no stills with this one, but it is the production notes for the press if you were going to be writing a review. So that is what that is. Just the notes. And next one, I know it's not strictly part of Tarantino's 9 movies, but True Romance, it's the same thing. He was the obviously the writer on this, so this is a similar sort of press pack affair. This has got all the elements in, so it's got the original sort of glossy part, which is that one. Then it's got a synopsis sheet, glossy again, the notes, proper notes on that one, and a still set. And I certainly don't mind this one at all. It's part of the Tarantino collection. and certainly it comes. It comes straight. If you've never seen True Romance, you definitely should do. It's great, and I would class all these like little offshoot films. So True Romance, Dusk Till Dawn, Four Rooms, the ones that he helped out on or wrote the screenplays for, all come recommended as viewing. Next thing, I got a bit of an oddball item. This was Reservoir Dogs. So obviously, this didn't come out right at the time of the movie. It came out a little bit later. In fact, Reservoir Dogs, the game, 2006, so much later than the movie. And they did a video game for the original Xbox, which I do also collect, based on the movie of Reservoir Dogs. And although I've not played this one, it does actually come quite recommended. Eidos, which is the company that released Tomb Raider, with a publisher, and this actually is quite a nice game, apparently. You sort of, a bit of a, I wouldn't say a forerunner to Grand Theft Auto, but in the same sort of vein as a Grand Theft Auto game. Now, the next thing we got, in the UK, there was a publisher called, well, still is, Faber and Faber. And they released all of Tarantino's scripts in paperback form. And these have these really distinctive covers, and they were massive bestsellers. So it was the full script of the movie, a few photos, but generally not many. Occasionally, they would have a little introduction by the author. I believe, this is 1994. In first edition, these books are particularly hard to get hold of because they were massively reprinted. This one here has got Quentin Tarantino, an interview with Graham Fuller. So it has actually got an interview with Tarantino prior to the actual script starting. Now, I remember when I first got into Tarantino, I think there was a film night special on him, and they went to his house, and I've tried to find this one online and haven't been able to do it, but they went to Tarantino's house, they went to video archives, interviewed some of his friends, and he was saying that, his influences were people like Brian De Palma, and I remember him going through his Laserdisc collection, and basically, he was exactly the sort of directors that Tarantino liked were the same ones that I liked, and I instantly hit it off. And from seeing that documentary onwards, I've been absolutely in love with all his films. So anyway, that's the first one, Reservoir Dogs, and that Faber published. And I think I've got all the early ones here. Yeah, so here's Pulp Fiction, the script book for Pulp Fiction. And this was, I think, published around the same time as Dogs, in 1994 for the first edition of that one. So that's Pulp. And then we had Jackie Brown, slight change in style. This would have been a tiny bit later. It still's at the front there. 1997, a copyright, but published in 98 in the UK for Jackie Brown. True Romance, not the greatest of covers, but it is what it is. This one was 95, so it came out before Jackie Brown, the book. We've got Four Rooms, of course. Tarantino provided one of the four stories in there. This is the Four Room script. 1996. That one was published. Tim Roth on the cover there. Natural Born Killers, another absolute cracker. Obviously, once again, not part of the main Tarantino run, but he did the script, of course. So, also 1995. And the last one of these script books is Dusk Till Dawn. Absolutely fantastic, fun movie. I would say this one. I just think it's hilarious. Little forward there by Clive Barker, the noted horror writer. And this one was published in the UK in 1996. Now, there's one other book that was published in paperback around that time, and it's this one by Jamie Bernard and Quentin Tarantino, The Man and His Movies. And this was the first sort of, it's not a biography per se, it's the first look at his sort of career. And this one was published in 1995, so it's around the same sort of period. This is really cheap to find secondhand now if you do fancy giving it a read. As I recall, and I haven't read it since it came out, it actually isn't too bad of a book, but it is unofficial. It's only what, you know, this guy thinks, you know, were Tarantino's influences. He does interview some of the key players, but it's one of those, it's totally unofficial. You know, when Tarantino's biography comes out, boy, that will be quite interesting reading. Now, apart from that, I wanted to show you these stills. So these particular stills, I've not got around to getting these framed, but these are original 10x8s that have been signed by the various cast members. So this particular one is an absolute classic. Got Travolta and Samuel L. Jackson in that great scene from Pulp Fiction. That one's a nice hand-signed one. Then you've got Michael Madsen from Reservoir Dogs. And finally, a nice Harvey Keitel from Dogs as well. So they're really nice. I've got one more slightly modern book to show you, and then I'm going to pause because I've got some really big items to show you. But this one here, this is a recommended book, and it's by noted film historian Jason Bailey. He's only a younger chap, but he's an absolute genius. Now, I came across him when he did his first book, which was on a history of Woody Allen movies. But he did one just on Pulp Fiction, and it's a whole big old thick book just on the one film. And you got to say, it's absolutely fantastic. So if you're into Tarantino, this is the book to get. It's just under 200 pages. Absolutely stacks in it for you to enjoy. All the behind the scenes stories, loads of brilliant overseas posters are shown, which I find fascinating. I have got a load of Tarantino posters, door posters for Reservoir Dogs and for Pulp. However, they're packed away, and it's just not possible for me to get them out for this video as much as I absolutely wanted to. But as you can see, if you're into Pulp Fiction, this is the book to get because it's great. Absolutely stacked with stuff. So some original pulps. Good stuff. Good stuff. So what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to pause the video there because I've got some slightly larger items to show you. Okay, so this that you see in front of you, as I sort of scroll the camera up a little bit, is a cardboard standee from France. So you see it's got the unfilmed Quentin Tarantino bit there. And this was given to me by a friend who's also a huge Quentin Tarantino fan, who's got a collector's shop in Quimper in Brittany. And he gave me this one, and it is just this little standee, it's quite big, was released for the video release of Pulp Fiction in France, and it's absolutely fantastic. This is like sort of a 3D effect here, and it's an absolutely stunning piece. So hopefully I can get all of that in. It is absolutely massive. Now the other thing I've got, bizarrely, is a couple of old calendars. Now this is for Reservoir Dogs. Now this one here came out. This is a Reservoir Dogs calendar from 1997, so it's 22 years ago. It's a British one. And it just has sort of 12 classic sort of stills on the back, and this was made by Oliver Books. So it's a Reservoir Dogs one, and I've got a similar one. It was a year earlier, same company, Oliver Books, 1996 for Pulp Fiction. And this one has also got 12 sort of classic, you sort of see classic scenes on the back if you wanted Pulp Fiction for the year. Highly unusual. I never got around to actually opening these, so these are still sort of sealed and are part of my collection. Now, the very pride of my Tarantino collection is coming up now. So I'm going to pause again, and I'm going to get it out because it's enormous. Okay, so what you are looking at here is the original Palme d'Or winner for the Cannes Festival for 1994. Pulp Fiction quad poster. Now, this particular one was a competition prize, and there was 3 of these made in the world, so I'd love to know who's got the other 2. And on the back it is sort of stamped from the studio of, or from the office of Lawrence Bender, who was one of the, was producer of this particular movie. Now this, I've never exactly counted how many signatures are on this one, but there's certainly, all the main ones are actually here. So I'll try and point them out, and then we can see what you think. So we've got, obviously, Tarantino along the top here. That's Travolta, John Travolta, Uma Thurman and Tim Roth. That one there, Love Amanda Plummer. Samuel L. Jackson along there, Bruce Willis, Patricia Arquette. Oh, down the bottom there, Ving Rhames, very, very small. They're the ones I can recognise. I think there are some more on there. The problem is with this one, there's Eric Stoltz, there's another one there as well. Problem with this one, it's a black poster. Now there's Harvey Keitel. It's a black poster, and a lot of them are signed in black, unfortunately, but what can you do? But still an absolutely fantastic item. Certainly not signed by all of them, but signed by the main cast, and absolutely fantastic. So I love that one. Certainly the pride of my collection for Tarantino. So there you go. I hope you enjoyed looking through that vintage Quentin Tarantino memorabilia. Now, if you have enjoyed the video, do please give it a thumbs up, and also consider subscribing for future movie-related content like this going forward. So thank you once again for watching, and I'll see you soon. Bye.